Disclaimer. Today we are talking about some fire, but don't get it flagged down off YouTube. Tell me if you heard this one before. Two twin robots are on a mission to eliminate any and every living thing they encounter. Their only real obstacle has blue hair and pronouns, but also is good at dip, duck, dodging, weaving, and getting out of their way. This sound familiar to you? It do? Well, I'm surprised you know about Black Magic M66. What? Dragon Ball Z. Oh, right. But those were cyborgs.
Ayo, hit the subscribe button right now. We don't really understand the grip that Terminator had on the world back in the 80s and 90s and even the 2000s. But Black Magic M66 is right there to show you what Terminator was doing to people. But to reduce this show down to just the Terminator but anime, it's like me tricking y'all with the DBZ joke, because Black Magic M66 is so much more than that. I mean, it really isn't. It's actually kind of less than that because nobody remembers it. But it's also a little bit more than that because, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't a robot ninja that could shoot lasers. You know what I'm saying? Look, I wish I could say that this show had like themes or politics that I found interesting. But no, baby, this was just aesthetic. This was just peak. And let me just tell you about how peak it was.
So the OVA starts off with a plane being shot down. Or maybe it's just blowing up at random. See, it's a dark, stormy night. We don't really know what's going on, and the pilots are just mum until, everything goes to hell. But we see two pods. It's really grave. It's really dour. It's very mysterious type team. But then we jump to our main character. And now she's this photojournalist, or I guess you would say video journalist. She out here just trying to get her scoop. And so she's been snooping around. She see that the military is investigating some kind of crash. And so she already like, it's time to slide. So she comes through with her little sidekick. Now, Buddy already just downplaying her like, man, you ain't got no husband. I got a family. I ain't even trying to be on this kind of timing with you, Sybil. You goofy. So anyway, they jump back to the crash site. Except they don't. They jump to these hikers. And, they just jibber jabber it, and it's that time. We got hikers, a bear, and a forest. Could I make it any more obvious? So they get packed up on some horror movie timing. No visual on the monster that did them. So we don't know what's going on. And the military is keeping it mum's the word, because anybody that asks too many questions getting packed up, Black Ops style, you hear me? But when we finally do get to see these robots that pop up, they on some killer ninja puppet type teams. Shouts out to Conqueror. They got lasers, they got super strength, they got poison needles, poison gas. And they got a prime directive that it's on site for their target. But we don't know who their target is. Now, Sybil, she cunning. Now, she ain't too strong. Like, she tries to do the old movie trope of, like, bopping somebody in the head after she gets captured. That don't do nothing, right? She gets captured right before the robots show up to take on the military. And when I say these robots is on demonic timing, I mean, they blowing up everything. Trees, bears, hikers getting disfigured. They ain't on no kind of... You remember in DBZ how the cyborgs was over here, key blast. Nah, these bots is on how we finna take down an entire military. One of them straight up just grabs a pole and just starts swinging that mug around. Then you got the other one, they hitting combo kicks, they putting fists through chest, they eviscerating people between the person in the tree, they just like ruining people. The 80s went crazy when it was time to show you just the most wild way to just body bag somebody. But after they done ruined everybody, basically, one of them gets captured and they show, oh, I'm not going out, we going out, and proceeds to blow himself up and then release poison gas too. Now, after all that's been said and done, we get who the prime target is. That's their creator's granddaughter. But Sybil, she's snooping. She's like, creator? Let's figure that out. So she tracks all the way back to his house. We get to see all the little robots that he's been doing. And early in the movie, we met the granddaughter, Ferris. You know, she's a little cute little thing. But these robots is on timing. Because the one that survived, Buddy tears down the entire house like tissue paper, bruh. On God. Unstoppable. So, when the robot finds out where the little girl is, Sybil finds out where the little girl is, they both make a mad dash for where she at. And she's in like this retro futuristic city type thing, right? So then we start the chase sequence. And I mean, they've done such a good job of setting up how monstrous these robots are that when it's finally time for them to get down to business, there's not a matter of if somebody gonna get touched, it's a matter of how many people is finna get touched. The whole Black Ops crew, we saw them be on some Black Ops type things. We see that they very competent. They still getting body bagged. Anybody to get in that robot's way, body bag. But Ferris, little cute doll that she is, she out here duck dodging. She got Sybil, they making sure. And we get to the climax. We think it's over. There's no way they're getting out of this. And finally, the building collapsed because the robot was just doing that much damage. And even then, they still got to hit the power button to turn the motherfucker off. Now, chase scene's over. It looks like Sybil about to get body bagged. Then our cute little girl Ferris comes in, calls in a favor. Little girl gets out. Sybil gets out. Happy ending. Except for like at the end, they tell us that it's all been swept under the rug. And at least Sybil's alive, right? Now that's where the movie ends. That's it. That's all the OVA has to offer. Analysis. So have you ever heard of a shaggy dog story before? That's when a story is like winding and twisting and convoluted, but ultimately pointless. See, when I first watched this movie, I was like 10. So bear with me when I say that this movie is fire. But at the same time, I wish there was a little bit more meat or substance to it. Because when I was watching it as a kid, the only thing I really got from it was, man, it'd be really messed up if there were robots trying to hunt and kill you. And then I watched it again in my 20s and I was like, man, it would be really messed up if there was an evil robot trying to kill you. And then on my most recent watch, and I can say without a modicum of a doubt that it would be really messed up if there was a robot trying to come and kill you. But that's all I can really say about it. There are hints and inklings and crumbs of information. The military is definitely not to be trusted type things, except they come through at the end, even though they had to be dissuaded from packing Sybil up in a plastic bag. The robots are very clearly killbots that were meant for some Black Ops things, and the film doesn't really want to touch on that in the sense of, man, these things should not have been created. It just is like, man, it sure is messed up that those things are here. And there is a comment about how the military and the government sweep this whole story under the rug, under the auspices of it being an attack from the North. But we're not really given clear insight into who the North is, with their ideology, etc., etc. We know that they're fighting what we can presume is the South, but we don't know why. And it sucks, you know? We got this retro futuristic world, and I just wish there was just a little bit more for me, mate. Just a little bit. But for what we do have, I have no complaints. You know, I love the art style. I love the sound design. I love the character design. I think everything about this movie is peak. I just wish it was a little bit more detailed there. As a chase movie, what can you really say? This is death incarnate, following you and pursuing you. And at the end of the day, it's just luck that you manage to survive as long as you do. Because honestly, Sybil and Ferris and everybody else that even came in this thing's path should have just been body bagged, but they weren't. And I like that. But hey, I may have missed something in this movie, so tell me, have you seen this movie before? Also, let me know down below what's your favorite old school anime. I'm DUN, and I'm done yapping. Deuces.